Hello. This video is literally going to be me ranting and complaining because I am so annoyed right now. And honestly, sometimes I just think things are a freaking joke or something, because honestly, it feels like it's beyond a joke and it's just been one thing after another. I haven't done a video for about 2 weeks. I just have felt very shit, really, just kind of like, meh, as it were. And if it's just not been one thing, it's been another, and it's just nothing major really, if that makes sense. In that everyone's okay kind of way. But oh my god, so frustrating. So fucking frustrating, because it's just ridiculous, and I don't even know where to start. Do you know when there's just that many things that are pissing you off and you just man. I think I'll go way back first. So I've had issues with my roof for 9 years, right? 9 years. So earlier this year, finally they sent an inspector to have a look. Now, I've got loads of trees out the side of the front of mine, a lot of moss ends up on top of the roof, and it's been causing issues for years. I've had them out and in, it was meant to be getting sorted, then they said it was cosmetic, and so therefore it wasn't going to be done, but I've had water pouring in my house, basically. I've had a really big leak in the kitchen, where you were literally needing towels to mop it up. It was so bad. And then in pretty much every other room, there's water coming down the walls. And yeah, and like I said, this has been going on for 9 years. And I've had umpteen arguments about it, and umpteen, well, it's just cosmetic and blah-de-blah-de-blah. Anyway, I finally got an inspector out earlier this year. He then said, right, what we'll do is we'll take all the tiles, we'll clean off all the moss, take off all the tiles, replace the full, I don't know what it's called, lining thing that you have underneath your tiles. Because it had I don't know the words again. So, because it was coming down the sides of the walls, and the walls that were attached to the sides of the house, even though my house is between two houses, is it the fascia? I don't know. But anyway, the bit that goes down the side, they replaced that. However, it still didn't stop. And it's particularly bad when it rains heavy, of course. And I've also had them say, oh, it's condensation because you haven't got enough loft insulation. Bullshit. There's no way that produces this much water, and at the time when they said it, the heating wasn't on, you know what I mean, back in the summer, etc. Because he was like, oh, heat rises, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, the insulation probably does need doing, because it, as he said, there was hardly any there. So yeah, that probably does need doing, but it's pointless doing it when the roof is still leaking so badly. So, right, is that kind of up to date? So anyway, earlier this year, the inspector came out. He said, yeah, it needs doing. We'll get scaffolding up. I'll book it all in, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I rang up about it for some reason. I can't remember why. And they said it was, what they've done instead is they've, hold on, I can hear drilling outside. I'll get back to that bit about the drilling. There's a reason. I'll get to there first. So he said, when I rang up, they said, we're not going to do the scaffolding, we're going to bring a cherry picker in, blah, blah, blah. There's 272 hours of work. Okay. So the day they were meant to come, I thought no one had came because I didn't hear anything. Jasper my dog didn't hear anything. And you would think if someone's working on the roof for 272 hours or whatever it was, would hear something. So I rang up and I says, look, never heard anything. Nothing's happened. There's nobody's come. Oh, yes, he did come. He was here for 40 minutes and he basically changed 2 tiles on the outer corner of the house. So I was like, what? Like, this, what? And even she said, well, obviously the time frame that's down for this job, and he hasn't done the listed things that was on the job. So she didn't know why. So we'll get it sorted. And then it took us numerous phone calls to finally get someone to book us in again and sort it out. So that was booked in for the 18th. It's currently the 20th. That was booked in for it to be done on the 18th of November. And on the Thursday before, so a week ago today, a couple of blokes knocked on my door early on. So I answered through the ring doorbell, and he was like, oh, we're here to put the scaffolding up. Oh, did you not know? I was like, no, nobody said. I said, but I am booked to have the roofer here on the 18th. And he went, oh, well, that's while we're here, is we're going to put the scaffolding up. Fine, that's no problem. Puts the scaffolding up at the front, puts the scaffolding up at the back, leaves. Took him about 3.5 hours, we'll say. And then my carer comes back on the dinner time, and she goes to put my rubbish out the back, which I have medical waste. I have a medical waste bin because I'm bedbound pretty much, apart from obviously, possibly 4 hours a day if I can get out. Okay. Anyway, she goes to put the bin. She can't open the door because they've blocked my back door. They've not put the scaffolding high enough, so the door won't, because the door opens out and it won't open. So this was the Thursday, so I rang on the Thursday afternoon. Lovely lady who I spoke to, it's basically said that the person who deals with that wasn't in, and she would, she tried to ring her at home, didn't answer, so she sent her an email. Now, it got to dinner time the next day, and no one had got in touch with me, so I rang them back again. And it was a different person who answered, and he said, he couldn't get through to her again, but he would fire a message and whatever. And she did ring me in 10 minutes later, to be fair, but I said to her, obviously I need it for the fact that the care is quite there for medical waste, but first part, it's a fire hazard, because essentially if there was a fire and the only way out is through the back, I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't be able to get out there because I wouldn't fit, but that would be the only access. If the fire was in the front of the house, that would be the only access. You shouldn't be blocking any fire exits, because she said, oh, well, I didn't think you needed access to the back. I was like, know what I mean? Like, it's a joke. Like, surely this is ridiculous. Anyway, she said, okay, this was like Friday dinner, so she said, I'll either get it sorted this afternoon or tomorrow. Right, okay. Obviously, get to the end of Saturday, haven't been. And then I heard them on the Sunday morning, because you could hear the clank of the poles in the back garden. But then when my carer came back at the dinner, he still couldn't get out the back door. So they'd moved them, and you still couldn't get access because the door opens outwards. Now, to me, one, the initial time they did it wrong, which was because it wasn't above the door frame enough. Surely you can see that. And two, if you look at a door, you can tell whether it opens like inside or out because of this. I'm going to call it the stencil, but the frame. If it's flush to the door itself, then it opens, towards you type of thing. But obviously, if it's the frame is over the door, you can't pull it that way. Or at least it's logical to me, and someone who does scaffolding constantly should bloody know that, surely. But anyway, now, be it that everything's fucked me off a lot, and I was so pissed off that I just couldn't deal with that. I just couldn't be. I, Obviously, there's other things as well, and I think I just had to switch off. I just thought, you know what, I don't care. They're coming to do the roof on Tuesday. I'll just leave it, get the roof done on the Tuesday, and sort it out then. Not that that should have been the case, but I just couldn't deal. Like, you know, when you have to like switch yourself off. So the Tuesday comes, and no roofers came because of the weather change, which, not that I was told, I obviously made that assumption myself because no one said anything. So my housing place shuts just before 4. So I rang at 1:45 because I thought, well, I'll give it all the time. It said that they would be here between 8 and 4, and they haven't come. So I phoned up and said, obviously, I realised that they haven't come, but I don't know when they're going to come because the weather now has changed. I mean, it's snowing here, so there's no way they're going to do the roof now. And I get that. Obviously, it's a hazard. But I'm still left with this scaffolding where I'm blocked in at the back of the house. So I thought, right, I'll have to deal with it. I wasn't going to, but I just thought, right, I'm going to force myself to ring them, and I did. And like I said, she said, obviously apologised and stuff, whatever. Said that they would come out yesterday, so yesterday being Wednesday. Nobody came. So I rang up again this morning. I was on hold, and by the way, they have the most atrocious hold music ever. It pisses me off so much. In fact, I recorded a little bit just to show you. At this point, I'd been on hold for 42 minutes listening to the same freaking music, and I've heard this music so many times because I've been on hold to the housing place that many times, and I swear to God, I literally wanted to fling my phone off my own head or something just to make it stop. But I'll put that little clip in. Don't know why, but you know, just so you can understand the annoyance, I think. Yeah, very annoying. And then I was telling our group chat, and Ian, who was the tat doctor, said he was going to buy it on CD for me for Christmas. Yeah, try it, mate. Try it, is what I'll say to that. Um, so yeah, so basically they said, I rang again about it, and as I've just said there, I've heard noise out the back. So I'm assuming they've done it again. Now, fingers crossed. um, it's working because, oh God, honestly, how ridiculous. How ridiculous. Like, I still can't get my head around it. Why they would block a door in the first place. It's just beyond a joke. Beyond a joke. I wrote myself notes because I thought I'll you know, I need to know where I'm at with what. So I've covered that and that. We'll then move on to the windows and flooring. So this is a long time. This also is a long time thing. So my bedroom doesn't have a window. It has double doors, which obviously for safety reasons I can't leave open, especially if I'm by myself, and also because of the dog. I wouldn't leave it open. And no one thought that I'd need a window, and obviously in the summer it's awful. So this has been going on for years. what they've decided to do is to put a tiny little window to the side of the doors so that I can have some air in here. Now again, this has been, like I said, going on for years. And also because I was going in the shower. I haven't been in the shower for ages because when I was getting pushed through from the shower, I'm sitting on a soaking wet sling, basically. And there's literally just a trail of water everywhere. And it was going down below my floor. And I ended up with mushrooms growing up the floor because of the wet and the moist and the damp and the warm, I guess. Because that's what they like, isn't it? Or whatever. So they said basically they would put this flooring down. It's like I couldn't just have normal lino because it would be a slip hazard to the carers when they were pushing us back through. So they were going to put this non-slip flooring down, to get it all measured and everything, and they'd measured for the window. And then I went into hospital, if you recall, with pneumonia, and then obviously was really poorly because of the hyperventilation syndrome. And yeah, so everything went out the window, and I didn't sort of ring up about it because obviously what was happening with me, and no one got in touch with me, and nothing was done. And then when I was speaking to the housing, they thought the window had been done, which it hadn't. And I've been round and round in circles with the housing and then home improvement, what's it called, in agency or whatever. No, isn't that a programme? What is it called? Can't remember. Anyway, yeah, I've been going around in circles between them, one saying, oh, I'll speak to the house, and one saying, oh, I'll speak to them, blah, 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 blah. And even though it was all measured and all sorted and all ready to go, it now seems like they're only going to do the window, and they're both arguing about the other flooring part of things. But again, I haven't been in the shower for ages, and I'd love to go back in the shower. And yeah, so that's another thing that's pissing me off. And it just seems like nobody wants to listen. Then I had issues with the hoist and the hoist battery, and then they sent someone out, and then they had to order the battery, and then that took 2 weeks. And while the machine's flashing, it's the carers are not insured to hoist me because of risk if anything went wrong. Blah de blah. And it's just then that got done, and then we've had the weather change. So I haven't been out for a week, which is, yeah, annoying. And it really affects me, I think, mentally, just not being able to get some fresh air. And then in August, mid-August, I reported the arm of my wheelchair because I reported my arm of the wheelchair because it's like a rubber thing and it always snaps off. So reported that, and I also mentioned that I would need new wheels soon. So they came out, fixed the arm of the wheelchair. Now the wheels are an audible thing? Thing that you have to order. And you have to order in advance because they take weeks, and I'm talking like weeks. The last time I was stuck in for, I think it was about 8 or 9 weeks for them before they came. So I thought if I do them now, my tyres won't go bald. I'll still be able to go out in the meantime whilst they're on order. Now I haven't heard anything, so I phoned them this morning, and no fucker has ordered the friggin' wheels. Honestly, I got really upset because she was so blousy as well, and it's like she didn't even say, oh, I'm sorry. She just say, oh, there's nothing there. I can't see an order for them. And then the And then they can't just order them. No, someone's got to come back out. So that's got to take another week. Someone's going to have to come and look at the wheels that then need replacing. And just because some fucker didn't do it in the first place, which means that I could end up not going out for weeks. Now, my tyres aren't boiled yet, but they're not very good either. And yeah. It's just like a joke or something. Like, someone just didn't do it, I guess. He says, oh, I'll put them on order, but obviously it'll take weeks, blah, blah, blah. And then just didn't. Yeah, I guess we can all make mistakes, but it does really affect some people, what you do. You know what I mean? I'm so angry, actually. But when I get angry, I get upset, which is just... I mean, it just says to her, this is an absolute joke. And she just, like I said, she didn't even say, like, I would say I'm sorry even if it wasn't my fault. I would still apologise on behalf of the whatever. But she said, oh, he didn't do that. He just wrote that he did your thing. I was like, I hope it's him that comes back, because I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. I really hope it's him that comes back. So like I said, I've got to wait a week for that. And then, oh God, well, my face is all blotchy. This is because I've got to have the heating on because it's cold, but then it affects my face. But anyway, yeah. Then my normal carers have been on holidays, so I've had a few questionable ones. And it just makes you appreciate the ones that are really good. And I do have some really decent carers, because it makes a big difference when they're not here. And I won't go into some of the things, but yeah, it's a massive difference. And it really, when you have really good carers and you realise when they're on holiday and they're both, they deserve their time off, of course they do, you know what I mean? But yeah, not all of them are the same. I don't know what else I've wrote down. I put international break for the football because I do like my football on the weekend, and we've had the third international break, but thankfully it's back on Saturday, so that's good, isn't it? I'm not looking likely to get out. I'm going to put in a little bit of footage of the snow. Well, I'll show you my outside of my Ring doorbell first, and then I'll put the little bit of footage. It went so dark here at 1:30 that I've had to shut the curtains and like put the lights on because it's so like it looks like nighttime outside. But I'll put that footage in now. It's 1:25, but it's gone very dark, and it's snowing. I don't think I'll be going out anytime soon. Yeah, so to be honest, I was sitting here thinking, oh, well, because tomorrow was supposed to be like a better day, like according to the weather the other day, but you can't take it now, can you? So I thought, even if I just went round the block, and I'm still tempted to go around the block as long as I don't stop like last time, because I went out and got stuck in the snow last time. If I don't stop, it was only when I stopped that became a problem. And if I stay on the flat round here, at least I'll have some fresh air for 5 minutes. Even if it literally is for 5 minutes, I really need to get out this room because cabin fever is mental. It's just hard. And then obviously that's not doing good with other things because my food's terrible. I mean, it's not the worst it's ever been, you know what I mean? But it's not good. And there's not, you just get like, don't know, I've just got no motivation for stuff. And I really need to kick my own ass, I guess. But sometimes it's just hard fighting all this, you know what I mean? Because it feels like it's all the time. And there's no like customer service, there's no people taking responsibility, or very little of it, you know, like it's mad. And then on top of that, we've got that lovely new bridge, which is great to get into town. And it, obviously, you know, not at the minute because of the snow, but it's got these two like dip things, which I assume are for like drainage with terms of water off the footbridge. And one of them's, it's fine, it's a little bit of gap, but the other one is kind of like a gap with like a sort of, I was going to say a little edge bit underneath. And I have to go across it as slow as possible, but even then, like the wheelchair proper bounces. It's not great for your back and shoulders and neck and stuff. And I just thought, you know, if like, because I've got quite chunky wheels on my wheelchair, but someone who doesn't, they would probably like struggle to get out of that because of the way it goes. And it's like this sort of like that, and then this little bit at the top. And I have took a bit of footage, which I will put in now, but I think it's hard to see it so much in the video. Maybe it is, but I'm going to put it in now and I'll show you. I'm just taking some photos of these gaps, right? I'm guessing it's for drainage. This one's not too bad. It does bounce a little bit when I go over it, but not really. To be honest, it's just full of cigarette ends. But, you know, the other one, on the other hand, is really bad. So this is the other one, and this one is a bit of a problem when I cross it. Yeah, so maybe, I'm not sure if you saw it. I haven't actually looked the video back yet, but and so my plan is to make a complaint to the to the council. I assume it's council for the footbridge, and just to say, why can't that drainage be the same as the other drainage, which is tiny and it isn't too bad. You wouldn't get stuck in there with your wheel. And like I said, I've got quite chunky wheels on mine, so it's much better, but it still bounces me. But for other people, and it must be a problem. But also I think if you're walking, and especially like today in the snow, and you don't see that, you could catch your foot under that lip edge and fall, couldn't you? But yeah, so that's another thing I need to come, because I kind of thought, shall I complain? Shall I not? Shall I just leave it? Because I can cross it. It's not like I can't. But then if it ever comes to the point where they do change my wheelchair, and the only one I can have is the one with the little plastic wheels, which are useless, because I did try one a few years ago, then it would be a problem, you know. So maybe, and plus having to, like, they clearly didn't take into consideration people in wheelchairs, I don't think, which is wrong. And it was the same when I reported those boulders in the park, and they did listen and they did do it. So maybe I should, because if they can make it the same as the other one, then I can't see why they can't. There's like a drainage along the whole of the bridge itself. It slightly dips into the middle where there's like a drainage thing. So I would think it'd be okay, but I don't think I can right now. I don't think my brain is braining. I'm just so angry, annoyed. It just makes me upset. That it just frustrates me. And then obviously with the weather changes, and obviously we can't do nothing about the weather for us to be able to get out and stuff. I really want to go to Roker Park. There's been some cormorants sort of living there at the moment. There are a lot of people have been taking footage of them that I've seen, and I'm itching to go and have a look myself. But it involves banks and stuff, and I can't go down banks or up banks or whatever. And also, I can go out if it's a little bit wet, but I can't really go out if it's raining a lot, because at the risk of, getting in the electrics of the wheelchair, and obviously getting my sling soaking on me or whatever. And when you don't walk, you don't produce heat, so therefore you're colder than everyone else, I guess. And then being wet on top of that wouldn't be good. Yeah, I think I've ranted about everything I think that I was going to say. Yeah, I just thought, just do a video, get it all out there, get it off your chest. There's other things, of course, but I won't get into them. Man. If I do go around the block in the snow, I'll probably film it, because then if I do get stuck, again, yeah, can't believe I did that the first time. Can't believe I thought that would be okay, but I'd literally just go around the outside, out there, just round the racing track type of thing, and not stop, and that way I'll at least get some fresh air for 2 minutes. Okay. Anyway, thank you for listening to my rant and whinge, etc. I shall catch up with you again with something more positive soon. Anyway, I hope it's not throwing too much where you are, and you're not too stuck in, and life is much better, and you're having a good time. Thank you very much for watching. I shall catch you next time. Bye bye now. Bye bye.